Are you finding like a theme song for today? Not exactly scary, but the intro. Let us know if I can watch it. Probably not because I have homework. Yeah. Today at my summer camp, some kid claimed that he beat everyone that he's ever played. And then I played, I didn't say that, someone else said that. And then, yeah. And then I challenged him to a 1v1. And when I castled, he was like, what the heck is that move? So it's like, of course you beat everyone because you've never played anyone. I destroyed him. I demolished him. It was like 10-20 moves. Of course you beat everyone, you've never played anyone. And then he claims that the only website to play chess on is coolmath.com or something. And he says that on coolmath.com there's no such thing as castling. Wait a second. Can I take here, check and take? Yeah. Okay. I can try. Might not work, but okay, I'll try. Also, here gives him a isolated pawn. He also has a double pawn structure. And yeah, also the same kind. He tried to move a pawn 4 squares from like here to there. Have you seen the game where Hikaru beat Rimka? Yes. Like on the internet? No. I think it might be like 2013 or something. But in the end, Hikaru was like trolling Ribka. Because he promoted like 6 pawns, then he promoted them to bishops. So he was trolling Ribka. no feelings. Oh, wait, I can win a pot. I can take here. Do you remember cooking that roper? Yes, I still go camp there. I just finished soccer camp at Roper, so now I'm doing sports and games. And today I passed through the room to the library. And I saw the old room. I'd be pretty surprised if I beat this person. Confused by this move. Should I take it?
What's going on, everyone? I am Coach Brian, and I'm here to bring to you today's States Cup. What is the States Cup? States Cup is where we form teams from every state, teams of four, and our four players play another state's four players. And it's like a professional league. Imagine the NBA where there's divisions. So we're in the Midwest Division. We are there with Ohio, Illinois, Oklahoma, Missouri, Minnesota, and Michigan. Of course, us, the Michigan Monsters. This is our unique logo here to the right of me, Michigan Monsters. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video on Michigan Chess Association Facebook. Make sure you go to Michigan Chess Association Facebook as well to check that out. So you can get all the information on the new States Cup. I will be showing you guys the schedule of the States Cup. We're going to be playing for the next 4 to 5 Mondays. Right now, we are undefeated. Oklahoma failed to field a team last week, so we got that automatic forfeit victory. First week, we beat Ohio 8.5 to 7.5. It is the best out of 16 games. Best out of 16 games is what we're playing. So everyone will play 4 games. I think it is. No. Yes. Everyone will play 3 games. Am I tripping? 4 times 4 is 16. Yes. So it's going to be 16 games there. So you're going to see, we're going to do 4 rounds of games today. I am your host, Coach Brian, as I said before, and we're going to get into some of these games. Just want to make sure there is a good sound check. We got it. I am going to be here with you watching the chat here. So if you guys are chatting, hey, on YouTube, chat. You got a question? You want to see a game? What's going on? Hit us up in the chat on the YouTube channel. I'll be watching that chat as we go through all the games. What's going on, Tim? Man, I see Tim Kuhn in the house. What's up, baby? And we're going to get started. It's supposed to start at 8 o'clock. I'm going to get this going here. And let's see if we have any games so far. Don't look like any games just yet. No games just yet. So we're getting a late start. Oh, and this week we have our top player in the state of Michigan, just fresh from the World Open. The Panther will be playing today. If you don't know who the Panther is, that is our very best, highest rated player in the state, Attulya Shetty. International Master Attulya Shetty, fresh from the World Open. I think in the World Open he had a 6 out of 9 score in the open section. I think that might be close to a norm. I'm not sure. It was either 6 or 6.5. We're definitely gonna get him in an interview soon. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the interview with Dr. Devin Camaneris because he's also playing today. Actually, since we are still waiting for the games to start, I'm going to pull up the roster. Pull up the roster here. All right, so you see here in our roster we have and let me go ahead and kind of minimize this here. There we go. All right, so you see we're going to the top 2 boards, Attulya Shetty versus Andrew Titus. Now, we're not going to see that matchup until the last game today. So right now, the matchup will be Advaith Rajanis versus Andrew Titus. So anytime one of our lower scoring players can get a score, that is a benefit for us. But Andrew Titus, they got Samrung Narayanan, Samrug Narayanan versus John Talgader in board 3. And then Minnesota brings Henry Hutton on board 4. We have Attulya Shetty, International Master Attulya Shetty, board 1. Ariel Levy, who I believe is a National Master on board 2. Devin Caminares, Dr. Devin Caminares, who we interviewed last week. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview. If you didn't, make sure you guys go and check out that interview. That interview was live from last week. You can go ahead and replay that interview. And also coming up on our 4th board is Top 100 Junior, who I believe is in probably 8th grade, I believe, is Advaith Rajanish, who is rated 1999, and that's going to round up the Michigan Monsters team. Our team average is 2183, and we're going against a team that has a 2191 average. And so the rules is you have to have a 2200 and below team average to make it even. And also, you can strategize about who you're going to put on your lower boards. You might have someone that plays a little bit better than their rating is on USCF, and maybe better in classical time controls. But this is rapid time controls. The time control here is going to be 15 minutes with 5-second increment. 15 minutes with 5-second increment are these games. So it will be a USCF online rated rapid tournament tonight. So I will also go the matchups here, show you guys the matchups. And this is who's going to be in the first round. You're going to be having Andrew Titus there. Minnesota's first board will play Advaith Rajanish. We'll be rooting for Rajanish to score with the white pieces. Samrug Narayanan has black versus Devin Caminares. And we have John Talgader with white versus Ariel Levy. And Henry Hutton, Minnesota's 4th board versus our 1st board, the Panther, International Master Attulya Shetty, on that matchup. And right there, you can see the future matchups there. So you know in the last round, that's where the fireworks are going to start. I'm going to check a bit on the... I'm going to check on our games now. Okay, so we have started, guys. We have started. So, the first game we're going to check Attulya Shetty game here, and give me a second as we switch.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hockley from Sandy Hook Promise. I know this is hard to hear, but it's important.
We have to switch that again there. Here we go. All right. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Got a little bit of scary music in the background. And we're going to get started in our games here. We're watching Attulya Shetty versus Henry Hutton. And in this game, and of course, guys, if you cannot see something, let me know. If you cannot hear something, let me know. You guys are my fillers out there. We're watching Attulya Shetty, who has the black pieces, versus Big Hen Hits Dingers. Big Hen Hits Dingers. And already I'm looking at this position, and Attulya Shetty has the knight on e5. There's a bishop on f3 that's being attacked. He doesn't want to trade here because then the knight will land on G4, or even a pawn could take on G4. Now the H4 pawn is unprotected. This already looks like a bad position for white. Material is equal. But it doesn't really matter here. I mean, look at the knight on E5. I'm pretty sure Attulya is going to probably bring this knight back out to E6 here after he decides whether he should trade on E2 and bring the knight to G4. You always have this queen B6 check that could mean something in the future. White is hanging his hopes on the square D5. That is what white has. And this was a Sicilian defense. Looks like it was the beginning of a Taimanov defense, but no, it changes here. Instead of going a typical knight to B5, where I guess still wouldn't be any pressure here, he goes knight to E2. And so this was just a really good Sicilian for Attulya. And then just like in Nadorf Sicilians, with the isolated D6 pawn and a nice knight on E5, he's getting the same type of position here. So black, I believe, is much better. Henry Hutton is hanging his hopes on a time advantage where he has 13 minutes to 10 minutes. But with the professional player that Attulya Shetty is, shouldn't have a problem at all. Shout out to everybody that's out there in the chat. That's what I'm talking about, in the chat. If you have any comments, make sure you leave it in the chat. I will make sure that I keep up with the comments. Now we're going to go to another game. Now here we have Advaith Rajanis versus National Master Andrew Titus. This is Minnesota's first board. So as I said before, anytime you get one of our lower boards to hopefully score against one of the higher boards, it's always an advantage. Now you look at what Advaith is doing. I like what he's doing with the white pieces, putting pressure on the A6 pawn. That pawn is a hard pawn to guard. And so now Titus is dripping blood, and what that means is his clock is dripping. Trying to figure out how he can defend the pawn on A6. So already I like the position from white here. Threatening to win a pawn. This also looked like it was a Sicilian because we noticed the backwards D6 pawn. The control over the D5 square, which is so important for black in all Sicilian structures. Probably the only one exception, which, excuse me, I believe is still important, is the Sveshnikov Sicilian, or the Pelican. But I don't know what he could do here with this pawn on A6. I would say he probably could blow up the center right away and just go ahead and let that go. But other than that, I do not see a really good way to defend the A6 pawn. I mean, he could go queen to B7. So queen to B7 or queen A5, which both of those moves don't seem right. But that might be something he has to do if he wants to save the pawn. Something like queen B7. Or queen A7. So this is going to be tough for National Master Titus, and this will be a big, giant score for the Michigan Monsters. By the way, we are the last year's runner-up to the championship. We won our division. We were in the East Division last year, but now we're in the Midwest Division. East Division was much tougher because we had New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, or Pennsylvania, and we beat all of them. New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and we were able to win that division, go on to the playoffs, and then we got to the championship against the state of Washington and lost in the championship game. So we have playoff experience. This year, hopefully, we can go and win the championship this year. We're already undefeated so far, as we're watching Advice Rogenus versus Andrew Titus, National Master, first board from Minnesota chess team. I need Minnesota to step their game up as far as their logo, their mascot. You can't be just the Minnesota chess team. Anybody out there, let me know, who is Minnesota? What is their mascot name? As we see Bishop E6, so he says, hey, I'm just going to lose the A6 pawn, but I'm going to try to control the C4 square. Because from the C4 square, if I'm able to establish a knight here, maybe a rook on C8, there could be some sacrifices and some funny things happening. Of course, the normal Sicilians, that's what happens. You put a knight on C4, and that is usually where black gets the counterplay, especially because you have a good control over the D5 square as well. So black is looking for compensation for losing the A6 pawn. Now it's up to Advice to see if is it worth it to take this pawn here? I believe it's worth it to take the pawn. All right, we're gonna go to Ariel Levy, who is an old timer around here in Michigan. His game is still not going. I wonder what's going on. So we'll come back to Ariel Levy. His game isn't going right now. And then we'll go to Dr. Devin Camaneris, who's moved here from New York and now is a Michigander playing for the Michigan Monsters. If you did not see our interview with Dr. Devin Camaneris last week, go ahead and check out the Michigan Chess Association YouTube page or Facebook page to see the replay of the interview. Very interesting guy, has a really good story. I had such a good time interviewing Devin Camaneris. Now, this is him here. He has the white pieces, and he's playing National Master Trapped Piece. So, National Master Trapped Piece. I want to see, who is this guy, National Master Trapped Piece here? Trapped Piece is, okay, Samrug Narayanan. All right, so that is who this is, and I believe he's one of the creators or the CEOs or the commissioners of the States Cup. We really appreciate you, Samrug Narayanan, for putting together this really good team event. I really enjoy doing this every week. So shout out to Samrug out there. What's up, bro? But we do not wish you any success against our team, the Michigan Monsters. As we look at National Master Trap Piece with black, Devin Camaneris has decided to put a knight on C6. He has about a minute advantage on the clock. And right now, he is currently down a pawn.
Check.
And he does take the pair of bishops. And will the pair of bishop make up for being down the pawn? I'm not so sure. It's possible. But he definitely wants to keep those bishops for sure. What's going on, Tyler? My boy Tyler Boer is in the house checking it out. Shout out to Tyler, who is a boxer and a chess player and is very successful at chess, the sport chess boxing. Got to get an interview with you, Tyler, as well, man. There's so many people that I would like to sit down with and kick it with, man. So it'd be nice to get an interview, especially after the last UFC fight, Conor McGregor against Dustin Poirier. I want to know what you think about that, bro. So we got to sit down and chop it up. All right, so Devin chooses not to trade queens, which I believe is a smart choice. Now it's on Semrug, who is trapped piece, to figure out, should I leave my queen here for a possible discovery? Where is the best square for my queen? These bishops are starting to look pretty good.
New challenge.
Okay. So we're going to go back to Ariel Levy. I still haven't seen anything from him just yet. He's supposed to be playing the game, and I don't know. Maybe one of their players didn't show up, so I'm going to have to get some confirmation on that. Because I don't see him. I don't see him here. Alright, so here we're looking at the Advaith Rajanish game here versus National Master Andrew Titus. Advaith did choose to take the pawn on a6. And now we see the move knight to d7. He's rerouting his knight. Looks like back to c5. I'm wondering if he could get away with the move b4. I was wondering if he could get away with b4. That might have been a really nice choice. It stops the knight on c5. There is a potential knight d5 here. You're getting your passed pawns going. Okay, so now I see that the whole plan here is to occupy the c4 square. So question is, do we play b3 to stop any incursion of the knight? That's the Steinitz rule. Or do we just allow this to come in and then make some trades? But this is Andrew's attempt to control the d5 square, because there is this perpetual backward pawn on d6 that could become a problem eventually. All right, let's go back to our top game, Attulya Shetty versus Big Hen Hits Dingers. That's Henry Hutton. And look at it, you got this nice knight on e5. Looks like everything is equal here, though. Everything is equal. But I would much rather be black in this position, mainly because the knight on e5. You got a rook here and an open h-file. So I would guess black's king is the safer of the two kings. But Attulya has to be careful, because I know white would love to play bishop to d4, take that knight away, and put more pressure on f7. Also, there's a knight to d5 threat that could be coming as well. Even though knight can't move just yet because of the c2 pawn being too important to lose. Attulya has 7 minutes to his 3 minutes, so he chooses to kick the queen out of that square, and the queen only has f2 to go to here. Okay, and I'm wondering if you could play the move rook to g4, king h2 or h1, and then king to d7, where you can swing the queen over and try to mate down the h-file. I'm wondering if that's possible. That is something I will be looking at here. Maybe you could even play king d7 right away, because rook to g4 can't be stopped. So that's possible.
Check.
So he does play rook g4. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. If you have any comments or questions, please make sure you hit us in the chat. Also, make sure you guys subscribe. Oh, king d7, just like I've said. Hey guys, even though this stream is live, there is a delay, so our players cannot hear what I'm saying. But also, if Attulya Shetty has to use me to cheat, there's a problem. This is just a natural plan, right? You have the rook cutting off the G file and just bringing over some pieces to cut off the H file here. And here, oh, he does play queen h2, but I think you still could play queen to h8, because the biggest threat is just to trade queens and bring the other rook over. So that's possible. All right, so he goes bishop takes g5 first. And that makes a lot of sense now, because the threat is rook to h4, which will pin the queen to the king. So that makes a lot of sense. Also, the bishop is attacking e3. Very, very effective and accurate way to finish this game. So guys, for those of you who are new to watching the Michigan Monsters play in the States Cup, every time we get a win, we give a wolf howl or maybe even a scream. And if we lose, we will give a scream too. A scary scream. So that's what we do here at Michigan Chess Association. Shout out to our Michigan Chess Association board. You got Lee Wang, you have Jeff Aldrich, our president, Norm Haygood, anyone I've missed. I'm kind of missing names here, as we see that Attulya could play the move rook h4, winning the queen. So he does play rook h4 there. Big Hen hits dingers, has a minute left, so it's not looking good. But shout out to the Michigan Chess Association board to put together this event. And also, we're going to be going back to real tournaments coming up soon, especially the Michigan Open. Make sure you go to michess.org to check out all the new chess tournaments and all the videos that we posted. Our interview with Devin Camaneras and our videos of the championships, the Dinker recipient award winner, our senior champion, which is Ariel Levy, who's playing the second board tonight. We have videos of those tiebreakers all on the michess.org website. Check that out. Get in some tournaments now. It's been a long time. I know you've missed it. Let's go. Let's push the pieces, the real pieces. Even though we enjoy playing online, but it's very good to have the over-the-board tournaments back again. All right, so we have a win for the Michigan Monsters, and that is Attulya Shetty over Henry Hutton. Okay, and there we go. Michigan Monsters 1. Minnesota has... I should change that to 0 here, right? 0. And every time we get a win, there we go. What's up, GM Canty? Man, we gotta get GM Canty. Make sure you guys go right now and search GM Canty. Follow on YouTube and Twitch right now. One of Michigan's top chess players for one, but one of the nation's top, the world's top streamers. He played in last year's States Cup, where he beat New Jersey's Grandmaster Mackenzie Molnar in a great game. So definitely a great talent, and we would love to have an interview from GM Canty, one of the top streamers. That's how you transition from chess. You have a chess player, you coach some games, and now he does well and made a career out of the streaming and talking about this wonderful game that we have. Shout out to James Canty, GM Canty. All right, let's go to I'm gonna check on Ariel again because I don't understand why Ariel Levy is not.
Check.
Okay, we got him. He's now in. And what's happening here? It's they're playing right now, but no one has moved just yet. Let's go to Science Squares here. Oh no! There was a big blunder here, and so after the bishop pair there, he goes queen, and then so queen to b3, attacking b2. He trades here. So he gives up the bishop pair. Black doesn't take that, and then he just continues to trade. And now material is even. And wow, he allows queen takes rook. What a move. He allows queen takes d1, rook takes d1, and then rook e1 check. And that queen sacrifice seals the game. Of course, after rook takes d1, then you have, for those of you who are watching here, rook takes d1, there's a check here, and then boom. What a queen sacrifice for the national master Andrew Titus. Oh no, actually that is our CEO. I mean, not CEO, but that's our commissioner of the league, Samrug Narayanan. Who got that move off. And so that ties the round 1-1 as we check out Advice Rajanish here. He only has 4 seconds.
Check.
This is not looking good for Advice here. But remember, it's a 2-second increment, guys. I misspoke before. It's a 2-second increment. Oh, and all he had to do was just move here. But I guess the king is going to come up, and there's nothing that you could do at that point. And so that's 2 losses there in that first round. And the only game we have left, which started kind of late, is Gumdrops. Ariel Livy versus Gumdrops. And Gumdrops is John Talgader. John Talgader is Gumdrops, who's rated 2,084. Ariel Levy is rated 2129. We need to win this game to tie the first round. We got to win to tie the first round. But we just lost in just that little bit of time. We lost 2 games. So not the best round for us so far. But we can tie it up here. So Minnesota has 2, and Michigan Monsters, we have 1. Let's let out a scream for that. Because that wasn't good. So now we're hoping that Ariel Levy could help us in this game. As we see, it's a Dragon Sicilian with Queen A5. So I believe the biggest threats are, is it like Knight takes D4 and Knight takes E4 or something like that? Or is this Knight takes E4 right away? I forget how this goes. But it is something to do with this diagonal here, if I remember correctly. What is it, guys? What? This is the dragon, and there is Gumdrops is thinking right now, but it was. He's probably thinking about the same thing I'm thinking about, where I believe after F3, the move is what? So he doesn't play F3. He just castles. So that's probably the safer option. Just a castle. The knight isn't pinned. Okay, so here I believe white is better. Here has a little bit more space and better development. But the dragon is a resourceful defense to play as he plays D6. And I know James Canty, who plays the dragon or played the dragon at one point in his career. You know, the general idea, and James, you could help me if you're in the chat, man, is it like Bishop D7 and A6 and B5? Still trying to target this E4 pawn by getting B5 and B4 in. So there goes Bishop D7, maybe Rook C8. This is a Sicilian defense motif. Having this open C file, these flexible knights that can hop into E5 and then the C4, targeting B2 and the bishop on E3. You know, this is one of the main reasons why the Sicilian is very popular. One of the main reasons. Oh, okay. So James, you stopped playing it for a minute because there was a lot of people, I guess, might have been booked up, and then through study, Anish Giri comes out with some type of series, maybe a chessable course on it, to where now the old lines that wasn't considered that great now are playable again. If I'm understanding correctly. So you're back to the dragon. Because if you like tactics and like a fight where you have a chance to win with both colors, man, the dragon is definitely somewhere you want to be. Have I played the dragon? I think I started with the dragon in the beginning, and I don't think I was even good enough to know what to do. So James GM Canty says this line is an old one. The plan. So this is good stuff. If you're in the chat here, guys, the plan now is Rook C8, A6, B5, and figure out where you're gonna put the queen later. I like that actually. A6, B5. You know you gotta play A6, B5 eventually, because that's how you get the counterplay in the center of the board by maybe getting in to push B4. So that makes a lot of sense. That make it to where even positional players like myself could play something like the dragon. But I like black's position here, actually. You know, white is still a slightly better because of the pawn on e4, but I think black is going to be able to get plenty of counterplay on the queen side. Here, I think I would play the move a6 here. Or could you play, or maybe we could play b5 in one move. The big threat is to play b4, and then knight takes e4. Yeah, I like this position for Ariel, and we definitely would love a win here where we can tie this round here. He does. He plays my move b5. Let's get that going now, man. Threaten b4, so I'm anticipating a3 should be coming soon. But there's one problem now that I see with b5, right? So like now if he plays a3, we can't play b4. Well, we actually can. I don't know if we should. But if he plays a3, I would like to move my queen out of the way and then play a5 and b4 maybe. But I can't do that. I don't have a really good square to move the queen. Maybe queen a6 could be played. And then queen to b5, b7. But is the queen well placed here anymore? I don't know if the queen is placed on the placement of the queen on a5 is any good. Maybe you have to play something like queen to b4 after, or a3 push still, and then queen b4. I don't know. I don't know. But this is our last game of the round. Ariel Levy versus Gumdrops John Tagala. I don't want to mess up his name, man. I hate messing up people's names. John Talgader. I think I got that right. John Talgader is the matchup. His username is Gumdrops. A3 is played. Now, Ariel had to have this move in his mind here. So I'm wondering if he is willing to play b4 anyway. That will give black a little bit better pawn structure. And also, there's a bishop and rook hitting a7. That will require him giving up the pair of bishops if he wants to trade pawns in that way. Or do we take a more, like a more slower approach with queen a6 and queen b7? I'm just not sure. That might give him chance to play knight. Oh, you can't play knight d5. So, this is going to be interesting here. I believe this move, this decision, is probably worth about 2 minutes on the clock. Especially since he's up almost 3 minutes. He plays a6 here. Okay. Now, does that... I don't know about this move here. Like, yes, he does have this... Okay, I believe he's going to go queen to c7. Try to play a5 and then b4 and take his time. But after queen c7, then there's knight d5. I think I would like for you to trade knights in this position. And if you don't, I think I can take on f6, and I don't have to worry about the attack on my e4 pawn anymore after knight d5. So maybe it's even queen d8. So he plays bishop h6 here. And so he figures he can get rid of the dark square bishop. It makes some sense here. That dark square bishop can be a big problem. And that's the dragon bishop, actually. That is the dragon bishop there. So actually, now that I'm looking at this, was it better for him to, instead of play a6, play rook e8, anticipating bishop h6? Because when that bishop leaves, that is the bishop that you don't want to trade in the dragon, because it gives you so much pressure on the queen side. So we are currently down 2-1. We had a win by Attulya Shetty against Minnesota's fourth board, as we see the move queen to b6. So he's moving his queen out of the way, getting ready for a5 and b4. Again, I don't know if I like this, because I believe that if white trades off a lot of these pieces, like for instance take and then the move knight to d5, the fork here, I believe I'd rather be white in that position. You're stuck with the bishop here on d7. Compared to the bishop on b3, white's bishop is better. a6 might have been the not a good move for Ariel Levy here. The good thing about what Ariel has, have advantage that he does have is the time. He has 3 minutes up in time. That's a good thing. And this is our last game of the round. It started late, so that means the other rounds might start late too. But even though we might have a game, here, as Ariel Levy is thinking here. I'm gonna pull up the schedule here. All right, here is the schedule. As you can see, the score for Michigan versus Ohio, we have that 8.5 to 7.5 there. We had a forfeit win versus Oklahoma, so we probably get all the points there, I would hope. And then our next round is the 12th today, but our next round is going to be next week. And then the week after that, then the week after that. You see the schedule there. Make sure you are here. There will be a live stream most nights, unless I have to play like I had to play in the first round. But there's going to be a live stream most nights. Sometimes we're going to have a co-stream where we have someone else from the other team come on and have fun and join the stream as well. So look forward to that coming soon.
What's up,
here.
fam? This is Test Boost Max, Scope Nation's most popular men's supplement. It supports healthy testosterone.
Have to, anytime we start something up here, it switches. Get back to our scary background. As we see he's in the think tank. John Talgader is in the think tank here. And he does take the bishop on g7. I don't know why he used that much time to think. Ariel is going to have almost more than half, or more than 2 times the time that Gumdrops will be having. And that's a big, significant advantage there. So here he plays rook e1. And that makes sense. He protects his imbalance. He has more space, so he protected that. That makes a lot of sense. And now I'm running out of options here for black. White is just completely better in this game here. I'm gonna guess the move should be knight a5, and then maybe bring in the knight to c4. That's what I'm gonna guess. But then, is it a problem when e5 is pushed here? And then you get this nice knight on e5 here. After knight a5, you got to move e5. Is that a problem? So I find it hard to find a good plan for black. I know usually it's knight a5, and then maybe you just snap this bishop off. Here, he decides to play rook e8. And I don't know what his plan is here. I don't think he's not planning to play e5. Maybe he's anticipating the push e5 here. He's not going to take that. Maybe he's just bring the knight to g8, and then say to white, hey, you can't open up the file here. If anything, you know what I would have done? Instead of playing rook e8, maybe rook d8. That would allow me to play knight a5 and knight c4, because if e5 is played, I will always have the d pawn take and the rook on the same file as the queen here. So that stops the expansion on e5. It doesn't stop it, but it definitely deters it. But Gumdrops is now down to below 5 minutes. Ariel Levy has 10 minutes. This is the first round of the States Cup. This is the third week. Michigan Monsters are currently 2 wins, no losses. 2 wins. We won 2 matches, once against Oklahoma and one against Ohio, that state over there. It's good to get Ohio out of the way. Get them out of the way first. All right, so we see the move Queen F4. Now I'm wondering, is it now time to play the move E5? Maybe not. Maybe not. If you play the move E5, you kick the queen out, and then maybe you go knight A5 in this position. Yes, you have a backwards pawn, but that's chess. Backwards pawn acts as a guard to a more advanced pawn that covers the D4 square. So this could be an option here to play E5 here before it gets too bad. Because now I'm looking at this position. Maybe G4 will be played here. H4. The bishop on B3 is a star. Could you even play bishop E6? This bishop on B3 concerns me. Maybe you could play knight A5 right away. But Ariel has a lot to think about here. Let's take a look at some other let's take a look at the schedule here. Not the schedule, but the matchups. Again, these are the matchups here. As you see, we're in the first round, so the last game we have is Ariel Levy versus John Talgater. And then next, we're going to see Andrew Titus versus Devin Kamenaris, Samrug Narayanan versus Advaith Rajanish, John Talgater versus International Master Attulya Shetty, Henry Hutton versus Ariel Levy will be next.
Michigan homeowners, if you have a power meter like this on the side of your house.
Sick of red, itchy mosquito bites? This genius college student just solved a 210 million-year-old bug problem with a device.
Sorry, guys. Try to get back to the scary music there. Hope you guys have no red, itchy sensations. If so, that was the commercial for you. But, all right. Okay, where are we? White is just so solid here. Brings the other rook over to d1. I do not like this for black. And here, Ariel Levy played queen to c5. So he's really trying to control as much as he can the square e5. And I believe his plan his plan could be b4 and queen takes b4. Could be. Then there's the a6 pawn that will be hanging, so maybe not. And what happens if white does play e5? There's going to be a pawn takes, knight takes, and maybe even a knight takes and a rook takes here, hitting the queen. I just don't like this for black here. And the time is showing now. Ariel Levy is down to about 5:40, and Gumdrops has 3 minutes and 42 seconds. And when we're getting down to time trouble, strange things happen. So rook d1 was played. Now it's Ariel's move here. And I'm struggling to find a better move than move like e5. You're controlling the center of the board. Yes, you have a backwards pawn, but you're going to have to fight for the square in front of the backwards pawn. Moves like bishop e6. That's what kind of fight is going to have to happen now. Then maybe you can get some counterplay with knight a5 and knight c4. As he thinks now, time is catching up. So that's what happens. Good job from John Talgador. He's built a solid position with white, handled all the tactical motifs in the position, and he just has a solid space advantage. And with a space advantage, one thing about it is when you have a lot of pieces on the board, it's usually good for the side with more space. And I kind of like this move here. Ariel wants to trade knights if he could. And then I think Ariel could probably play moves like bishop to c6. So that is a nice move here. He didn't have to weaken up his pawn structure by playing e5. He plays knight e5 instead. That's pretty nice. Now, does Gumdrops, Gumdrops, I don't want to call him Gumdrops. It sounds like a male stripper, you know. Sorry, kids, if you're watching. It sounds like a weird dancing name. Okay? So Gumdrops. I don't know. But John could play. Now he goes with knight d5. I thought maybe he could even try knight to d4. That is a way to keep the pieces on the board. But okay, he chooses to go knight d5 here. Still, there's no reason for any trades here. You could play bishop to e6. Maybe. Knight takes d5. Rook takes d5 would come. You don't want to do that, I don't think. And I guess you can't play bishop e6 either. So you can play moves like bishop to c6 maybe. But maybe he doesn't want to double his pawns here. I wouldn't mind myself, but after knight takes, we take with the f pawn. There will be some doubled f pawns. There's a backward d6 pawn, so structure could be an issue. So yeah, Ariel has to think, and now time is coming all the way back. So this knight to d5 move is better than I even thought. You see white's position, putting a knight on the square d5. He has a nice pawn on e4 that gives him a space advantage here. He has two rooks here in the center of the board. White is better here. Much better. And it's easier for white to find moves. For instance, like bishop e6 looks good, but then there's a pawn droppage here. And pawn droppage is never good, as my friend Glenn Barnett would say at at the chess club. Shout out to the chess club, Twin Knights, and the Mandel Chess Club right here in Michigan. Make sure you go there and check out the tournament. He did play bishop e6. I didn't think he could do this after the move knight takes e5, pawn takes, and queen takes e5, but he does it anyway. Is there something I'm missing here? Gumdrops? Come on, you gotta get yourself a different name, man. Can't call a grown man gumdrops. I can't do that. Alright, so queen takes e5. As I was saying, if you are in Michigan area, check out the Mandel Chess Club. That is in St. Clair Shores, or the Twin Knights Chess Club out there in Troy, Michigan. And they have over-the-board tournaments going on. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and play some over-the-board chess. Alright, so Ariel Levy takes on d5. I gotta believe this might be an emotional decision here. So he plays a5 here. White is currently up one pawn. The time is getting kind of frizzy. Move a4 here. He plays b4. I guess, hey, how about g4 here for white? Threatening g5. Is that too weakening of the king? I mean, there's not many pieces on the board, so I don't believe that this would be that bad of a move. I also thought rook d4 could be an option. You're threatening rook to c4, trading off. Oh, actually, maybe it won't be a trade here. So Ariel moves his king to g8, but the big threat is rook c8, I guess. Rook c4. But I guess queen takes d5. Is that going to be a problem? Man, I don't know. I don't know. Rook c4, queen takes d5, rook takes c8. Is that a problem? It might be. I don't think you can take this. I don't think you can take that. So what do you do instead here? Because the problem now becomes, after you move the queen, the c8 rook is going to go. That was an excellent move. I don't think Ariel seen that move when he moved the king to g8. I think he assumed the rook was going to f4. So this is not good for the Michigan Monsters here in round one. So he does play queen d6. I don't think this works either. Rook takes c8. You're probably going to have to go rook takes c8 here. Is this his effort to try to keep the queens on the board? Maybe. Maybe. But then you're going to give white a passed d5 pawn. This does not look good here for Ariel Levy. Now my question is, we probably can take this. But if you take and play rook d8, he has d6. The f7 pawn is going to fall. This is not looking good. So he plays queen f4, but then d6. d6 could be the move. Now, rook e8, is that good enough? That's my question, guys. Is rook e8 good enough for a draw? Oh, he doesn't play that. But I'm wondering, was rook e8 good enough for a draw? Oh, I'm sorry. There is an f7 square. And this is just resignable here, guys. That's it. And Ariel Levy falls to Gumdrops and the Michigan Monsters. And I can count on one hand how many rounds we've been down. And what a round for Minnesota. The first round, they win that round 3-1. So that was a disaster. All right. Now, there might be other games going on, so let's go to some other games. So, right now... Oh, hold on. Yeah, what's happening here? Oh, just that quick, guys. So what happened is we didn't have to wait for the next games. So Trap Peace and Advice Rajanis played their game, and this is a Rui Lopez here. Advice has black, and he's going into a burn-in structure here. And it is a king and pawn endgame where there is double pawns on the queen side compared to the 3 versus 2 on the king side. And this 3 versus 2 will create a passed pawn where it's going to be hard to create a passed pawn with this pawn majority without the use of your king as well. And that's probably what happened in this endgame here. Too hard to create a pawn majority here. And there it goes. So that is a big loss there. Double pawns shows you the pawn majority on one side, even though it's a pawn majority. If it's double pawns, you can't create a passed pawn. Where on the other side, you can create one to create a distraction while the opponent's king gets to pick off the others. And so that we lose the game there. So I have to adjust the score again, guys. We're not starting off good. We're not starting off good here. The Minnesota team is up 4-1, guys. 4-1. Let's look at the other games here. Did Attulya get a chance to play his next game? Let's see. All right. No, he didn't play. Nope, he hasn't played another game just yet here. How about Science Squares here? Did he get a chance to match up with anyone? All right, so he did play Trapped Peace, but he played the National Master Andrew Titus, and this is the game here. Science Squares is black, National Master Titus is white here, and look at this here. Look at that hole on d5 in the Sicilian, by the way. That is a big hole there.
Check.
And looks like Andrew Titus wins a pawn there in the opening. And here Science Squares is going for the attack down the H file.
Check.
Wow, and look at the tactics here that's just flowing here. It's just
check.
Wow, look at that. And Andrew Titus wins that against Science Squares, and we're gonna have to put them on the board again. Five to 1 is the lead. Minnesota versus Michigan Monsters. 5 to 1. I believe Attulya should be playing right now. Yeah, Attulya Shetty is going to play Gumdrops the next game. And Advice has played. Who would Ariel play though? So that's what I'm interested in. Who would be Ariel's next? Alright, so here we have Ariel Levy versus Big Hen Hits Dinger. So that's Henry Hutton. Hopefully we can get these wins from Ariel and Attulya until we can close the gap, make it 5 to 3. Hopefully we can get that. This is English here. Ariel Levy is white, Henry Hutton is black. Okay, there we go. And he's playing the English square. The whole focus is to control the E5 square. See the move bishop to E6 here. And the threat is the C4 pawn. I wonder, like, moves like D4. Is that playable in these positions? I'm not an English player. But, oh, there he goes. He plays D4. I like the space advantage here. So even though I don't play the English, I play chess. So look at that nice space advantage here. Knight on E5. This knight can swing to D2 and maybe to F3 here. Queen C2 could neuter the space advantage right here. As here he goes knight to D7. Looks like he wants to get rid of the piece on E5 with some trades. I'm wondering if you can even play E4 here. Might be a little too much. Queen C2 or knight to D2. I would leave this knight right where it was. And maybe play something like Queen C2. I wonder if you can even play knight D2 in a position like this. I'm not sure, but come on, Ariel. We need this win. Let's check in on Attulya here. And he's playing Gumdrops. And we have a English. And Attulya, as far as the English is concerned, if you guys want to know anything about the English, watch Attulya Shetty's games. Attulya has been playing the English for years and years and years. And he's definitely a grandmaster level when he has the white pieces because of that English that he's been playing for so long. What's going on? Devin, what's up, man? The score is 5-1, Wei Ren. 5-1 is the score. Minnesota is leading us 5-1. We're right now. We have 2 more games left, so if we can somehow win that. Oh man, Devin, don't be sorry for the losses, man. The tournament's not over, so we didn't lose. Boom. We have not lost. The score is only 5-1. Remember, it's the first team to 8.5 wins. And they have 5, we have 1. We're going to get these 2 games here from Attulya and Ariel. And then once we do that, we're going to close the gap to 5-3. And we'll be right back in it. Yes, Wei Ren. We can still win. The first team to 8.5 wins. That's right, Devin. You're gonna come back for sure. I know it. Dr. Devin Camaneris, our veteran, actually, second year playing the Michigan State, the States Cup for the Michigan Monsters. We have Attulya Shetty versus Gumdrops. I don't know, I'm uncomfortable calling John Gumdrops. I'm just saying. So here we see a position. Attulya is locking down the weak D6 square. Ha ha ha. That's right. The doctor is in the house, D. We're keeping control over this D6 square here. I mean, I guess black could play D5. So Attulya just gets castled here. There's bishop C5, so I wonder what is his strategy after seeing a move like that. You can't play the terrible move Queen C3 because you get your queen pin to the king here with bishop B4. Queen E5 check, I guess that's an option. But is this the type of position where you're trading queens? I don't think so. Alright, so he goes Queen D1, keeping his eye on the backwards D7 pawn. There's knight to C7, so he can control D5 a little bit more. Now he has 3 things covering that, so he's ready to push. Okay, so Attulya plays B3 here. He's going to put this bishop on this really nice long diagonal here. That A1, H8 diagonal is really, really nice. Immediately, Attulya takes on D5. And I believe it's because Attulya is going to operate against the isolated pawn if he takes back with the C pawn. If he takes back with the knight, I think Attulya will play moves like Queen C2 and Rook D1, keeping pressure on the D file with the pinned knight to the queen. And also bringing bishop B2 on this long diagonal here. I can see the attack coming now for white. All right, so there's knight D5. He goes bishop to B2 here. That's interesting. This is the experience of Attulya Shetty being playing this English. Now I thought Queen C2 would have been better because it attacks the bishop on E7 and it stops the bishop from coming to F5. But what do I know? I'm not an English opening player at all. So here Attulya plays knight to D2. What is his strategy here? Knight D4 or knight H5, threatening to get the pair of bishops. Definitely rook C1 maybe. But I would say knight h4 should be the strategy here for white to kick this bishop off of this really nice diagonal here. All right, let's go check out the Ariel Levy game here. Also a English, but just a different position here. As we see the move b4 here, c5 pawn is under pressure. Of course, if c takes b4, then the d pawn drops with bishop takes d4. So looking to, and if he plays b6, then there's a knight takes d4. What a tactic there. So b6, knight takes d4, c takes d4, then bishop takes the rook here in the corner. Now, is it worth it to get rid of your light square bishop? That's my question, because after knight c6, you're going to have to take the knight now. So I'm not sure. That's the answer that Henry Hutton has to figure out. Big Hen Hits Dingers is his name. Now, last round we had players who played some games, because you're free to play games if the person that you're supposed to play is free. As we see knight c6, the knight actually threatens the e5 pawn here. I would be surprised if he doesn't just simply take on c5. Yeah, he does do that. And I'm guessing the plan is to go knight takes e5. But then there's bishop takes e5 here. Or rook to d1. I'm starting to like white much more. And this bishop on g2 is gonna become a star in this game. I'm starting to like white here. Starting to get very optimistic. Let's go back to Attulya Shetty versus Gumdrops. Can't even get that out of my mouth. Oh. Oh, man. This is still a stream, a show where children watch. So, but very funny. All right, so look at the pressure that black is trying to put on the f2 pawn. I smell something here. I smell something here. So f2 is okay now. Will there be a knight e3 siding? Oh, wow. Knight e3, pawn takes, and then knight takes e3. This looks like some Bobby Fischer. Remember the guys, remember that game with Bobby Fischer? It was against one of the Binkos. No, not Binkos. Oh, man. The game of the century, Burn, right? But it was the other Burn, not the game of the century. It was the other one where there was some type of sacrifice on e3. I don't know if you guys remember that. This is a game where he was kind of young. This is reminding me of this. Attulya has to be careful because Gumdrops might find a tactic like knight e3. Now, I don't know if that works, but having that knight on e3 with the bishop on this long diagonal, you know, I don't know. You gotta at least look at that. That's all I say. So, oh, now this is something that I thought about too. Like, why couldn't he play this? Because if bishop takes, then there is rook takes. After take, rook takes, then you have knight g5 hitting the rook and the knight on g4. So that is a nice tactic there. That's a nice tactic. All right, let's go back to Ariel Levy. He is down a little bit more than a minute on the clock. As we see, it was d3 was the move. Take, and then queen takes d3. And so even though white has an advantage in material, he has what, 7 pawns to 6. White's pawns are not that great. But a pawn is a pawn. So even though there's isolated pawns on an open file, which I wouldn't want to be white here in this position, the pawn still gives space advantage here. It still controls key squares. So black has to be careful. For instance, like rook d1 right now is already a big threat. The queen is running out of good squares. So have to be very careful here. Black has to be. As long as Ariel is playing actively and dynamically with the space advantage that he has, because these pawns, even though they might be targeted, they cover really good squares on black's half of the board. So double pawns are not always bad. They're just different. Got to know their strengths and their weaknesses. So here's some takes there for Attulya Shetty here. My assumption was knight g5 doesn't work. My assumption was it knight to, it goes knight d4. Wow, I didn't think this was the way he would do it. If he went knight d2, what would be the move here? Oh, I guess he could have played, I don't know what the move would have been there if he played knight d2, but okay. So he plays knight to d4. He has the f5 square for this knight later. The rook is being attacked by the bishop. You move the rook away, then the knight on g4 will fall. So still works. And he has a big advantage there. So the Panther looks like he's going to be winning material in this game. And luckily for us, we have Panther playing for us at the Michigan State Cup this year. He missed it last year, and I'm going to make sure I get an interview with Attulya Shetty for all of you guys, especially the kids who like the interviews that we give. And once I get them, make sure, you guys, if you got questions you want me to ask Attulya for the interview, let me know. Wei Ren wants to know the lineup for Michigan. It is Attulya Shetty, Ariel Levy, Devin Kameneris, and Advaith Rajanish. This is the lineup for tonight. Okay, so what if white plays... Okay, so no, can't do that, can you? Yeah, this is a hard one here for black. What a move by Attulya. Pair of bishops, the rook is unpre. No problem, Wei. Shout out to Wei Ren. Thank you for watching the stream. I don't see what Gumdrop can do. The rook has to move away, then you're going to drop the knight here. Probably the best thing to do is just play knight to f6. Or maybe he's thinking maybe he could play rook takes bishop. That's true too. So maybe rook takes bishop, queen takes, and then knight f6. I'm arguing as black that the knight on d5 is just as good as any rook that you have, and that might be true. Especially if I'm able to. Now, I thought he should have traded the rook here for the bishop. But I guess we get the same effect after bishop takes e4, knight takes e4. If we're able to win these two games, as we go back to Ariel Levy, This is probably the game that is more important than the most important game here, because it's clear that Attulya Shetty is winning his game versus his lower opponent. But it's not so clear in this game. Very important, but just not so clear. As here, Ariel Levy offers a queen trade as long as he undoubles or he makes the pawn structure better by allowing A takes B3.
Check.
And also, not only that, there is a attack on the B7 pawn as well, so always got to watch that. As they're thinking there, so here we have a exchange. So it's a knight and pawn versus a rook. I would have a lot of faith in this position if, and I'm saying if, this knight was on D5. So I don't understand what happened there. If that knight was on D5, I would have way more. So I do believe Black should have taken the bishop with the rook. Believe Black should have taken the bishop with the rook and played knight f6. That, I think, would have been the best way to do this.
Check.
And now, Attulya's not going to allow Black to post this knight up to D5 easy. You got rook to D7. I guess there is a knight f6 that could be coming, but after rook to... Oh, and this is even better. So now you have rook e7. Oh, he missed. He plays b4. So how about knight d5 then? Did we even have to even play king f8? That was a quick move by Gumdrops. I thought knight d5 would have been better here. I actually like what Attulya is doing. He's doing a minority attack, taking away the anchor of d5, which would be the c6 pawn, making that a target. So I like that. By the way, Black has 3 pawns versus 2. So this is the only counterplay Black is going to be able to muster against White, is being able to create a passed pawn. We go back to Ariel Levy. There was a trade here. Wait, hold on. Oh, there's a knight there, and then there was a trade, and there's a big problem here. As Ariel makes a quick move and plays knight d4, probably out of frustration, because the c4 pawn looks like that's going to drop. This is not, all of a sudden, not looking so good with this pawn structure being so weak on an open file. Especially when you trade off the queens. Because you can't be active, you can't be dynamic. You know, now more pieces come off the board, the more glaring the weakness of the double pawns in the pawn structure is going to be. And not only that, Big Hen hits dingers, has more time. Almost 2 minutes more in time there, and that's a big factor in rapid chess. 15 minutes with 2-second increments.
Check.
All right, we switch back to the Attulya game here. Attulya is just doing a minority attack, making sure that if he has any type of passed pawn, it's going to be an isolated one that he can handle. What is... Okay, so I don't understand what Black is doing and why he's moving so fast here. So now, after check and take, the knight won't be able to take the a4 pawn like he initially thought. Now he's wondering, should he just go for it here? I actually think, man, this is just not good. He could play rook c7 until you pushes the pawn to a4. Now he's covering the c7 square so the pawn can promote or push, so he can push it. But he can simply play rook a8 and get behind the pawn. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here.
Congress has passed a new bill allowing homeowners to claim $3,600.
Okay. All right, so Gumdrop's not looking good in this position. So we're gonna go to and we should be able to get that win. And there it goes. We get a win there. Now we still have Aerial Levy versus Big Hen Hit Dingers. We need this to go 5-2-3. We need a score here. We need a score here. Currently, the score is 5-2. And we gotta get a wolf howl for that one. What a win by Attulya Shetty. That's what he's here for. He's our Giannis. He's our LeBron James. He's our Kevin Durant. He's our Steph Curry. We expect that from Attulya to come through with big wins. I would say Tom Brady, he's our Tom Brady, but I can't stand Tom Brady, so. All right, we're looking at Aerial Levy. He has 2 minutes to 4 minutes, man. This is the time management here, not so hot. Okay, so, oh, I see what he's doing here. This was a clever move, I think. So his plan is to trade rooks here. And then bring his rook to f3 where we can take the pawn on e6. That could be something. Devin, you say is c4 protected right now thanks to bishop takes b7. Hold on. Okay, let's go back to that position you were saying. So you say, oh yeah, c4 is protected. I mean, it's already protected by the rooks anyway. But bishop takes b7, yeah. But it's just eventually these pawns are going to be a nuisance, man. You got a rook on c8, knight is on a5. These pawns are just going to fall. He has to be very active here. And actually, what Big Hen Hits Dingers did here is pretty nice. He didn't allow the exchange of rooks here in this position. Okay, so now here, this is not a bad idea either. Bringing the king to e2. Which will double attack the rook here on d3. So Ariel is fighting back here. Of course, this would be a big loss for us because Ariel being, I think he's the second board, this will be the third board of Minnesota. For them to win that swing match, that swing game against us will be very hard to deal with. He plays g5 here. What is the plan with g5? I think he wants to play rook d4 and then g4 maybe. Maybe that's the plan. But I still think Ariel should play king e2. Oh, then there's rook d2. Ah, I see. Okay, so black feels he has enough time to play h5 and g4 and shut the bishop out completely. I'm not so sure about that. Oh, but then he goes rook takes d3 right away. Wow, I'm not so sure about the move he just made there. By trading the rooks, now you don't have access to the f3 square. You play king e2, then rook to d4, hits c4 twice. Also g4 is in the air, and he still has control over the d file here. So he gives up complete control over the d file, and now he has only 15 seconds. He has to move. You got to move something. So this king e2, that hits the rook. So here he plays bishop to g4. His plan is to go bishop e2 and protect c4 with everything he has. Big Hen has 254 here, so bishop e2. That should be an instant move.
Check.
So he doesn't do that. And then, hey, bishop e2. Then you have rook to e4. Rook e4 attacks the e5 pawn. What do you do then? Maybe you steal the file actually now. So maybe it's time to go rook to d1 and get active. There you go. So now we could play rook to d7, get really active here. It's already going bad, but you just want to have activity. Bishop d3. Oh, and he drops on time. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. All right, so we lose that round as well. So it is currently 6-2. Let me fix this score here. 6-2. And our opponents, all they need is 2.5 more points to clinch the match. Take the match from us, Michigan Monsters. And I will say last year, did we lose a match? Yeah, we lost in the championships. Maybe we lost one outside of that. So we did lose one match and then lost in the championships there. But this here is not the best start. We're halfway through it, so we can of course come back, and I have faith that we're going to do such. But we lost that one, and that deserved a all right. Let's get into the next games here. No games just yet as I look through everything. Wait. Yeah, no. No games just yet. All right, so we're going to take about a 2-minute break, guys. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Everyone is getting set up to play their next game. This is the second half of our States Cup. Thank you for watching and joining us today. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Be right back.
was stressed out, candy bars and chips and donuts, gaining weight. But since
All right, we are back. See if they have gotten the games going. Here we go. We have Science Squares versus Big Hen Hit Dingers. This looks like a stone wall that is going pretty good for black. But I guess after knight d2, I don't know. The danger of the stone wall is having this bishop become a bad piece. Already, I believe, after b6 and b4, the bishop probably won't be able to use this diagonal. Maybe he can go to a6, maybe. So usually in the stone wall, the bishop kind of sneaks out this way. But as you can see, black is starting to march the pawns on the king side and trying to develop a king side attack. So there we go here. Let's see. What do we have here? Ariel Levy, who has yet to win his first game. And the problem with that is Ariel has played the two lowest players on the Minnesota team. The good thing about that is he can redeem himself against two of the highest players now, which would be great. We have another dragon, the Queen A5 dragon here. You see the E4 pawn here is under attack. And I'm wondering if white couldn't just double take here, like bishop takes. Oh, I guess it wouldn't matter because you can go F takes here. But again, a position, a dragon where what black is down in space, but has some good counterplay. Now here, the E4 pawn is being attacked here. See, he played rook E8. And there it goes. Bishop takes F6. Excuse me. And white is doing that to damage the structure. You don't want to go bishop takes. Maybe just E takes here. The E4 pawn will be under attack by the rook on E8. I actually like black in this position now. I do. I like black after E takes F6. Now I know the knight on D5 radiates power, so he does take with the bishop. And is it?
Check.
So he does allow this here. There's queen takes D6, and then there's bishop takes E4, rook takes E4. Ooh, there's something he has to watch out for, I think white does. Bishop takes E4 should be, I think, a decent move. Queen D7 could be a problem. Gotta watch that. Hitting F7. F7 is a target for white. You gotta watch it. So he has to decide which way he wants to take. But I think
Check.
black is fine here. Now, I thought that decision, I don't know, it was weird to give the check here. I don't think the check gives him that much of a benefit, does it? King moves away, and then is he thinking about playing rook takes? E4? Maybe. But this is probably the best position Ariel has had since he's played today. So maybe he has to get used to this time control for one, because he had 2 games where he ran out of time. And what better way to Andrew Titus, Minnesota's national master, first board, has a time advantage here. I think this is a great position here for Ariel. Let's check Advice. Wait, hold on. Advice has played 2 times, right? One game is still going. All right, here we go. He's playing Gumdrops here. And I think they're about around the same strength. Advice currently is down in time about a minute. This looks like this was this an English here? Let's see. Or a Maraxi bind Sicilian. Oh, it was just a Sicilian. Yep, Maraxi bind Sicilian, controlling the D5 square as much as he can. And then he disallows the capture of a pawn here. Because he says that queen to E5 pins the knight. And how do you defend that here? Bishop D3, F3, queen to D3, and F5 will be coming. So it looks like some great preparation for white here. I mean for black in this opening against the Maraxi bind. It's not looking good in this game here, and also the time reflects it as well. So let's look at Attulya here. Let's check him out. He's playing trapped piece here with black. And it started as a French here.
Check.
And it looks like black is playing for some type of development lead here. Opposite side castling. And I like black's position here. Looking at moves like queen to b6. It goes queen. Oh, that makes sense. Double attack on the a2 pawn. And now b3 is played. And Attulya has a 3-minute time advantage here. And these two have history. They've played each other in chess on Lichess 40 times. 40 exactly. Attulya Shetty's lifetime record against trapped piece, national match trapped piece, is 29.5 to 10.5. So this is definitely in our favor when you're talking about lifetime statistics on the Lichess website. As he plays b3, I gotta believe that rook c8. So I was wondering if he played rook a c8 or rook f c8. He played rook a to c8 here. Now you're threatening things like knight to d4. And also I know he wants to go a6 and b5, maybe even b4. c2 pawn could become a target here with double rooks on the c file plus the bishop on f5. So black, I believe, is better in this position. And it's opposite side castling, so you want to, it's like a race to the other person's king with pawn storms that you're not worried about storming because your king isn't in that area. But look, white has yet to get the counterplay going on this side of the board. So white is defending, but there's no counterplay. As he plays queen e3, we should anticipate the move a6 maybe. So I like this for black here. Science squares. Now look at this position here. I like the knights in this position. I like the knights. As science square is looking at, you know, really solidifying the d6 square. Black has the bishop pair, but black has this bishop on c8 that's in jail. Anytime you have all the pawns the same color as your bishop, you just have a pawn. You don't have a bishop. Devin has control over the e5, and Devin said this earlier. He says he's going to redeem himself, and this is a nice squeezing game from Dr. Devin Camaneris. I can just see moves like rook e1, rook d1, knight to b6 at a certain point. This is a really nice position. But also black has to get something going, so I believe black could play moves like f4, maybe f3, trying to use his pawn majority. He has 4 versus 3 here. He can use that pawn majority to create some weaknesses around the king, and then maybe get an attack in that part of the board. So I like Devin in this game here. Looking good. Ariel, now things have changed. 6 pawns versus 6 pawns, but Ariel is now under attack by the bishop. The rook doesn't have many squares to go to. He chooses to go rook a4. And here he's threatening a3. And now I think he can play rook a5. So he plays rook a5, and if bishop takes pawn takes, he doesn't have the double pawns on that side of the board anymore. He just has to do a little bit better on his time. But I guess actually if he plays rook a5, the move c4 it could come. So I'm wondering, is it better just to play the move, maybe the move b5? That just controls the c4 square. Then maybe you can bring your king over to the center. So he does play b5. Excellent. That stops c4. So what he wants to do, I believe, is rook a8 and rook to d8. And use that pin there, even though there is a bishop f3 that stops that. Plays bishop to b3. That's a pretty big move, because the whole plan, and he probably could go back to e4. But the problem, the biggest problem was playing, white wanted to play rook e1 and go rook e7 and attack f7. Now, if Ariel leaves with his king here to try to go to e7, he's going to get hit with a surprising rook f6. So you don't want to do that, I don't believe. You're going to have to play rook e7. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. King f8, rook f6, and rook e7. All right. Let's go to Advice here. He's still thinking in this position? Wow. Oh no, he plays bishop to e3. He's down the pawn. And I'm going to guess the move is going to be bishop to f3. Keeping this bishop on this long diagonal with a lot of pressure. I will say Advice hasn't gotten his rhythm yet. He does use a lot of time. He is also a veteran of the Michigan Monsters as well. But he's not in his rhythm like he usually is. As we see, the clock ticks down 4 minutes here. Advice is going to be down 3 minutes. And remember, guys, now he does pick bishop to d3. He allows queen takes g2. And I actually like this decision because of the position here. He's up in development. So you got to be aggressive when you're up in development. That's how you use that imbalance. Black doesn't go for it. Black moves the queen back here.
Check.
And now the question is, which way do we castle here? If we go queenside, I don't know about queenside here. It looks very loose around the queenside here. So you might still have to go kingside, and after bishop d6, knight f3 prevents the checkmate and attacks the queen, so you don't have to worry about that. But he does want to keep that attitude that he needs. That attitude of, I gotta keep attacking, because white has developed all the pieces except for castling, and black still hasn't developed the knight and bishop here. So you want to get something going. There you go. I like this move here, castle. There's an h7 pawn that could be targeted. The queen is looking weird in the center of the board. Of course, bishop takes doesn't work. That's not a free piece because bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen takes d4. And then the queen is captured because of the discovery attack. Bishop takes h7, king takes, and then queen takes d4. So that indirectly protects the knight on d4. But I will say this, white, I like white even down the pawn here. f5 is played. f5, wow. Black is fighting back, still not nowhere near up in development here. And knight to f3. Attacking the queen here. Oh, he chooses to trade here first. That was a big decision here. I don't know why Advice didn't think about that a little bit longer. Okay. But now there is a open f-file. Maybe that could be significant for white later in the game. And I believe black is going to now try to develop all the pieces. But first, you got to move your queen. So this is a big game here. Remember, the first team to 8.5 wins the match. Currently, the Michigan Monsters have 2. And the Minnesota, I'm gonna call, since you guys didn't tell me a mascot name, I'm gonna call you the Minnesota Gumdrops. The Minnesota Gumdrops have 6. The Michigan Monsters have 2. As we see the move queen to c7. We want to really open this position if we can here. Can we play e4? Maybe. We really want to open this up. Maybe queen f2 to queen h4. I don't know. He does play e4 to try to open the position up further. Will black play f4? That does allow the move e5. The bishop has a really nice diagonal. That could be an issue.
Check.
We have so many games going on, so we're going to hop to other games. There's Attulya Shetty versus Trapped Piece here. And right now it's equal. What's his plan here? His plan might be to go to h6. I don't know what that's going to do there. So he decentralizes his queen.
Check.
I don't think b4 is an issue for Attulya, because that just weakens too many squares around the king. So this knight should be okay. I mean, sometimes you might see a5 and a4. Try to open up some lines there. Or maybe even the move b5 right away. Could that be possible? That could be possible, actually. So Attulya right now is thinking here. I think b5 is a move that should be thought about here. He plays e4 here. This expanding in the center of the board. If knight to d4, f5. That was a quick decision by Trap Piece, by the way. That was a quick decision there. I'm wondering if he could play the move queen e7, because the threat, there's b5, what we talked about earlier, trying to open up, you know, use a can opener to open up this side of the board where the king is. Also, there was also a possibility of queen e7 and knight to d5, or I mean knight to d3 check, which would win the exchange. But b5, opening that up. Not too much worried about that here. Let's go to Ariel Levy versus Titus. The time for Ariel is just so bad. It's so bad. Also, this position is nothing but pawns on light squares. Your opponent has a light square bishop. Even though you have a king, this is going to be a tough position to hold. There's another light square pawn here. And he does trade. Can he play f6 here? Yeah. Probably has to play f6 right away. And then probably go bishop to, yeah. So bring the bishop to c8 so that a6 is always, you can always watch a6. Or watch the pawn in case it goes to a6, I guess. He's trying to think here. He's using a lot of time, though. Come on. Bishop d7. Ah, so he keeps his bishop active right there. That makes sense. You got to watch it because bishop f7 could be a move here. He's going to have to do something. Okay, so he did. He has to move quicker and with more purpose. So he does take here. And does he want to defend this with this bad square? Okay, so he does move his king over.
Check. Check.
And look at that. Uh-oh. Now this is a good decision here. He doesn't allow the trade here. That was a good decision there by Ariel. He has only 3 seconds. That's why we're here at this game here. Maybe bishop check here. It doesn't really do much. King comes over. Oh, and he loses on time again. Oh, no. Oh, man. Okay, so Ariel Levy loses his game there. Oh, okay. So now Minnesota has 7. All they need is 1.5 to clinch the match here. And we have to let a scream out. This has been so bad for us today. We might want to do an explosion. All right. Minnesota Gumdrops have 7 and Michigan Monsters 2. All right, let's get back to... All right, so we have Advice versus Gumdrops. Everything is looking pretty good here. Let's go to trap piece versus Attulya Shetty here. Very important to try to get this win. Trap piece is now ticking down 130 here. Got to take that back. Oh no, there is a G5 move here, but then there's knight H4. I mean knight A4 check, and we don't lose the piece here. Good. I still like Attulya's position here. Science Squares has a minute and 51 here, has white. That king is concerning me, as he does take there. And he does take again. So is this winning? I'm not sure if it's winning or not. Black does have a far advanced pass pawn. So does white. Steps up here. So, yep, gotta push that pass pawn there. We're gonna circle through all these games here.
Check.
Everything is pretty. So look at trap piece. 44 seconds left here. Trap piece is looking good here. So I'm gonna switch to Advice here, who has 22 seconds here. 43 seconds. 51 seconds for gumdrops. Looks like there was an exchange here that was taken. So Advice is doing really well in this position. Anticipating queen c6, maybe bishop to e4. The g6 pawn is being threatened. Oh, h2 is a problem here. So what does he play here? Now this is a problem. This is a problem. You can't allow this move here. So if you play g3, you got to play something, Advice. Come on, g3. You got to play it. And if he plays queen to c6, bishop d4. There you go.
Check.
Oh, there's a check here. Oh. King has to step over.
Check.
Wow. Maybe queen f4. That he had to play queen f4. What's happening here? Oh no, and his mate on h1. All right. Attulya. Let's go to Science Squares here. Oh man, this is not looking good either. Guys, if they get a draw in this position, they're going to clinch the match. Clinch the match. And this is at least a draw for Science Squares. Unless he can get two of these pawns to the 6th rank, which is possible. These 3 pawns can beat the rook if you have the right king position. We're looking at the time here. The time could be a big factor. What's next here? Attulya Shetty has 2 seconds here. And he is currently down a pawn here. And this doesn't look like a win for Attulya. If anything, this is a losing game. His rook is active here. Maybe knight to e6. Yep. Okay, you're threatening knight to d5 check, which will win. Oh, he fell for it. Does it work though? Does that work? It might. Check and then move over. But still, it's not enough. This is just enough for a draw. That's it.
Check.
Not enough.
Check.
And that is a draw. All right, so we look at, what's the next game? Science Squares loses on time as well. Oh, so we lose. Science Square loses that game, so that's 1 for them. Ariel Levy loses that game, that's 2 for them. We have a draw with Attulya and a loss. So this is now, they have clinched. Minnesota Gumdrops have clinched the match now, big time. With 1 round to go, we got only 0.5 in that round, and then they have 3.5 in that round. So they have a score of 10.5. You only needed 8.5. No, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. It was 6-2. Okay, I'm counting too much. Right, 6-2. And now we have 0.5 there. And then they have 9.5. That's what it is. And so you only need 8.5 to win the best out of 16 games. And so they have won 9.5. And we only have 2.5. Michigan Monsters. Wow, we've never had a round. We never had a match like this before. And with 1 round to go, we have been defeated by the Minnesota Gumdrops. I don't know if their mascot name is Gumdrops. It's just they have a player that's named Gumdrops. But the Minnesota Gumdrops have 9.5. Michigan Monsters 2.5. And we have this is the 3rd round. So Attulya Shetty has wait a minute. Attulya Shetty, after 3 rounds, has 2 points and 1 draw. So Attulya has scored all of the Michigan Monsters points so far in this contest. This is just a down day for us. But we're gonna go back to the drawing board with our coach Jeff Aldridge and figure out some things going forward. But this is going to be a tough season. We have a lot of good teams in this division, where I think we have 3 more games to play before the playoffs. And then we could go back and see what we have done wrong. That's the chess player's label. Always go back, look at your mistakes to see what you could do better. And we've definitely made some mistakes in this matchup tonight. Again, Minnesota Gumdrops have clinched the match versus the Michigan Monsters. Minnesota Gumdrops have clinched the match versus our team, Michigan Monsters. All right. Well, guys, hey, there's more games to be played. Feel free to watch those games, right here on leechess.org. You can see those games on your browser. Check that out. But the match is clinched. Michigan Monsters we have been defeated by the Minnesota Gumdrops. And this is our first loss of the season. Now we will be 2 wins and 1 loss. Last season, I believe we had only 2 losses the whole season. 1 early in the season, and then we had 1 loss in the championship. So we were able to learn from our 1 loss during the season in the East Division. Now we're in the Midwest Division, and we learned from that loss. And then once we, played our next round of games, we were able to win all of our games until the championship. So I know Coach Jeff Aldridge is going to get on the players and reorganize and come back even stronger for you guys next week at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Michigan will be playing. I don't know who we will be playing next, but it's either going to be Illinois, Missouri, or Oklahoma. No. We already played Oklahoma. So Illinois, Missouri. Who else could it be? Illinois, Missouri. I think that's it. So it's going to be one of those teams that we will be playing next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Again, the Michigan Monsters lose tonight to the Minnesota Gumdrops, 9.5 to 2.5. I am Coach Brian. We will have a broadcast next week. Maybe we even get an interview in before that. Maybe an interview with Attulya Shetty, or maybe we can get our president Jeff Aldridge to come on down and kick it with us here at Michigan Chess Association. Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. We even have a Facebook page as well. And make sure you support all of those platforms for Michigan Chess Association. I am Coach Brian, and representing the Michigan Chess Association. I'll see you next time.